This is my 1959 Corvette gasser. I just recently got it from my dad. It's got an elliptical leaf spring setup for the front, disc brake conversion. It had a straight axle in it, but my dad went over the spring and it made very little axle to frame clearance. So what I did was I took out the old setup and I installed a 4-inch drop axle, but put it underneath the leaf springs. Now I have all the room I need. I'm going with a cross steer setup that's going to go from the power steering box way up front here to this arm, the steering arm, which I bought an extra set of steering arms and inverted it and put it up top here so I can go over the top of the leaves and get my steering that way. Because the way I have the pitman arm on the power steering box is just the way you find it on the, say, a Monte Carlo SS. If it was a Bel Air using a cross steer system, you'd probably be going back to this rear steering arm back here. My dad also modeled the center console after a helicopter. When he was in Vietnam, he was a door gunner for a helicopter, and this is the panel that he made with the toggle switches, little lights, and gauges. I think it's really cool, and I'm going to keep it that way. Also, period piece is the diamond tuft interior, which I have the door panels, the kick panels, and the seats, which aren't in it right now. I'm also leaving that. The motor I'm going to be putting into it is right there. It's a 400 30 over, so it's a 406. It's got Dart 2 Iron Eagle Platinum Series heads, roller rockers, March serpentine belt system, new alternator, power steering pump, starter. It's got the comp cams, extreme energy 284 hydraulic cam in it, which should be pretty radical as far as a hydraulic cam is concerned. I've heard them on other cars on YouTube, and it seems pretty radical, and I can't wait to get this thing fired up. This is the tire and rim combination that I wanted to use. Unfortunately, I won't be able to use the rear tires because they're just too tall, which is going to create a clearance issue with the wheel wells. As you can see with the other tire combination that was on here, it started to rub right on there. You're saying, well, looks like there's enough clearance, but there really isn't. Those rims aren't mounted on the axle, so it looks like there's a lot of clearance, but when you do mount them, there's only about an inch of clearance on there. There's a lot of issues. Probably saying, why don't you change the axles? Unfortunately, the leaf springs go over the top of the frame in the back, which pose a real problem for reversing the shackles. I'm going to be using Competition Engineering traction bars, which are for 68 through 72 Nova. They don't make an application for a Corvette, but this rear end is out of a 68 through 72 Nova. It's a 12 bolt 410 rear end that came out of a Nova SS, and that bolted in there. So hopefully the traction bars, with little modification at all, if any, will bolt right up to those leaf springs. I'm going to be using the MagnaFlow glass packs because I really want that nostalgic sound to it. And I'm going to be running the glass packs underneath the rockers because of where the fender well headers exit. Those glass packs will tuck right up underneath the rockers. Make sure I put some heat shield on there so it doesn't get too warm.